this dummy, which can I just say, this is the title of this video piqued my interest for a specific reason. One is that anything this dipshit says is hilariously off the mark and completely, is the intellectual equivalent of using a rented brain, driving it at 100 miles an hour and throwing it in reverse. But the title of this one is The Power of Fear in Politics. And his little mini description down here says, here's how the Democrats effectively, thank you very much, use fear to impose tyranny on Americans. Tyranny. Yes, the tyranny we impose on gay people that says your marriage is valid in one state but not in another. The tyranny we impose on women who say you have the right to choose depending on your zip code, but not as an American. That kind of tyranny. The total tyranny, tyrannical tyranny. The tyranny of shoving the bipartisan infrastructure bill down your throat. Yeah? All right. Oh, by the way, what's her name? His wife is in another video. Dare I dip into that one? I don't know. I'll keep it on the ready. But this is, here. This is, the name of this one is, just wait for it. And it's black, it's white. This is Debbie and the mess D'Souza. This one is the differences between Republican and Democrat leadership. Okay, first of all, I think Democrats actually exercise leadership and actually do it, and Republicans are stuck with their head up their ass. But let's find out. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the power. Get ready to get your doom on. Everybody put your nipple clamps on and tighten your religious Silas thing, the band on your leg that you tighten whenever you have sin thoughts, like the guy used in the Da Vinci Code. And I don't know, get out your reeds to whack yourself with anytime you start to panic. I don't know how you handle it. We'll see, because this is going to be a scary ride. It's good because it's October. It's Halloween.
Fear is a very powerful...
The fuck is that bell ringing at the beginning of the... All right.
...force in politics.
Really? You think?
And...
Like fear of people storming across the border, open border. We don't know where these people are coming from. They're all from insane asylums, and they're from they're rapists and they're murderers, and some of them I assume are good people, but the vast majority of this is an invasion, and no other country would deal with an invasion like this. Something like that.
And this is something that has been discovered by everyone who is a student of the subject.
Well, I think it's in chapter 1, probably. That's the...
This goes back to...
Maria's all clamped up. Good for you. I'm wincing on your behalf.
Figures like Machiavelli, who have studied politics in a philosophical sense. And
one moment.
Figures like Machiavelli, student of the subject. This goes back to figures like Machiavelli, who have studied politics in a philosophical sense. And Machiavelli is always talking about the...
No, you study Machiavelli. He's the guy who kind of wrote the book, dum-dum.
Effectiveness of the use of fear. In fact...
Yes. The Machiavellian, yes.
In a famous example, he talks about one of the Borgia princes who was very unpopular, and there was a revolt that was coming up in the area of Italy known as the Romagna. And so Cesare Borgia, who was the prince...
Check your notes, because you just learned this story right before you went on air, and you don't know it well enough to quote it without looking. Usually, I would like to say for the record, you guys will know this, usually he has a blank piece of paper, or he's busy shuffling like lightly typed things that were, that he just has as almost a prop. There's some fucking like straight up Sharpie notes on this. Yeah, next up, Assassin's Creed.
Decided, I don't want to crush the revolt because then the people there will hate me all the more. So what Borgia did was he brought in another guy named Ramiro di Orco, and he goes, listen, you crush all those people, smash them, destroy the revolt. And that's what the guy did. He was a very cruel man. He used extreme measures. And then when the revolt had been put down and there was a mood of terror throughout the society, what does the prince do? He says, the next day in the morning, the head of Ramiro d'Orco, the designated cruel man, was found in the town square. And he said,
is this making you nervous somehow? Are you beginning to worry that Trump is the designated cruel man?
As the people were gratified and they settled down, and
they said, yeah, thanks. The guy you hired killed a bunch of our friends and our family members and stretched them on the rack and pulled their toenails out and that kind of stuff. But
province was peaceful, and the prince could keep ruling it, this time without an obstinate rebellion on his hands. But notice what he did is he used fear, and then he got rid of the fear. And
no, he didn't. No, he didn't, dum-dum. He didn't scare the people with this dude. The dude fucking put the rebellion down. It was a military tactic. He didn't use fear. He just subverted the leadership and played coy. This is not the same fucking... What are you talking about? This is not the same lesson. This is a different lesson from Machiavelli. No! Jesus Christ. He didn't put like scary signs all over the city. You know, this will happen to you. They literally killed him, you dumb fuck.
And then he got all the credit for being the guy who got rid of the fear. Now, all of this is a sort of...
No, he got the credit for getting rid of the guy who was vicious and cruel and murdered a bunch of people on behalf of the state. He's like, that's not what I wanted. He was wrong. Get the fuck out of here. Yes, I've read Machiavelli's theories. Of course I have.
A prelude for me to talk about ways in which in America, fear has been effectively deployed by the left and by the Democrats.
Yeah, but not by the Republicans. Republicans don't tend to use fear. Maybe they should think about it. You know what I mean? Because I'm just saying, why would you build a wall against something you're not afraid of? Maybe that was the problem with the funding. Maybe Trump could have gotten way more funding if he'd have just, I don't know, villainized immigrants. Here's a good idea. How about you guys use the fear that women will abort babies as they're coming out of their womb during the fucking birth? That they'll just birth them right into a chipper shredder if you let them. So we got to keep these ladies on a short leash and a long dress. Jesus Christ. But anyways, tell me again about the fentanyl scourge in China. Blah, blah, blah.
Now, I think the big discovery for the Democrats was in 1932.
Was it? You mean when the Democrats that you're talking about were, are now Republicans? In 1932.
Because the country had been plunged into a depression, and people were fearful.
That was scary. Yeah, it was a scary actual thing that was scary. That genuinely was scary, because there were some things that happened that caused people a lot of damage and heartache and lost lives and stuff, which is scary.
Fearful. They were genuinely fearful. This was not manufactured fear. It was real fear. Where's my job? Where am I?
That was it. They were just confused. You know what? And if the Democrats were like, we could give them GPS, but let's keep it until 1985.
My savings, my money in stocks has gone down to zero.
Nobody had stocks back then, dumb fuck.
Zero, or close to zero.
Or close to zero. Some of them were like, they have gone close to zero. This is fucking, it's just, it's just gonna make me angry, isn't it? The whole thing is just gonna, it's like, I don't have a vein in my forehead that comes up when I'm aggravated. I'm gonna get one. This one's gonna give me a vein in my fucking forehead, isn't it?
And the Democrats tapped that fear.
Oh, they tapped that fear. Come on, to tap the fear up. Tap the fear. I thought shut. The Democrats tapped that fear. Jesus Christ.
And were able to enact all kinds of welfare state measures that other...
Oh, the New Deal. Oh, which is terrible, because, old people eating cat food is always much better. It shows that a country is rich and compassionate.
Otherwise would never have gone through. So fear proved to be politically successful. And since then, going all the way...
No. That's not a tactic, dumb fuck. They solved a problem that was genuinely affecting people. That's not using fear as a tactic. That's going, oh my God, there's a gaping fucking hole there. We should probably fill the hole, because people are afraid that when the sun goes down, they won't see the hole. I don't know if I could, oh God. Oh my God. Hi. Oh, Chad wants to say hi? Is she yelling at me because I'm making too much noise?
She'd like to say hello.
All right, come here, Chud. Come here. Come on. Chud's barking at the door. Hi.
Upstairs.
Huh?
I can hear her yelling at
What
you
is
upstairs.
it? What is it, young lady? I'm doing a show. I got a show to do. And she just went potty, so she wants to go upstairs. She wants a ride back upstairs. Can I help you? Look at this. Aw. What the baby to do? Like, stop doing what you're doing in there and take me upstairs. I don't want to have to walk up the goddamn steps. This is ridiculous. Here you go. There you go. Passing off. There we go. Excellent. Love you. Hold on. I'll get the dark because, yeah, Chip will be next. Oh, there we go. Anyways, momentary cat interruption, which I think is going to be necessary today. That's Chud. Chud's lovely. She's, you know, she's old and she's having breathing issues, but she's doing all right. Oh, Chud. She did learn. You know, Chud has learned. Don't say Chud. Like, some people are like, oh, Chud, when will you ever learn? Chud has learned. Chud has learned that when I am down here doing my show, she's like, I just went to I used the box, which is, of course, down here near my office because priorities. Because, you know, just all I do, who cares if I'm downwind from, it's just a silly show that I do. This isn't, at least it's not bothering the rest of the family while they're watching TV. I can handle it. If I ever get glassy-eyed, now you know why. But Chud has a thing for you know, she's elderly, so sometimes she needs a ride upstairs, and I can't say I blame her, because she's old. Anyways, back to where we were. Back to this dipshit giving us a history lesson right out of an automated YouTube video.
Back now to the 1960s, for the last 50 years, the Democrats are always trying to recreate that fear, except...
No. You motherfuckers are always trying to recreate the actual fucking problem. Like segregation. Like denying women the right to choose and then eventually the right to vote. You're the ones that had fucking Rush Limbaugh as your hero, and he said the problem started when women got the vote. The fuck are you talking about?
Now the fear is often fictional. It's often made up.
Yeah, it's just it's almost like well, what?
It's imaginary. Oh, the world is running out of food. This was...
Oh, the world is running out of food.
The so-called Club of Rome in the 1970s. Or the ozone layer is being depleted.
The ozone layer was depleted. And as a matter of fact, we made so much progress with CFCs being removed from the atmosphere that the ozone layer is arguably like that. It was venting some of the fossil fuel. Like it was acting like as a hole for the heat to escape. And one of the things when we ended chlorofluorocarbons was that the fucking ozone hole shut. It did. It worked.
Or more recently, COVID. And
yeah, we just, what do? Just sit back and wait? Yeah, we didn't give a shit about people's rights or any of that stuff. We weren't fighting for a woman's right to choose or gay rights or the rights of the working poor or any of that shit. We were just like, don't worry about it. Something really fucking scary that will throw the entire world economy into a volcano will come along, and we'll use that.
Under COVID, think of what all the stuff they're able to do using the politics of fear. You can't go to church.
You can go to church now. Temporarily, it wasn't advisable to go be in a closed room with a bunch of people, especially in churches where the congregations tend to be older and in the window of people who died. Democrats and others who argued for the closing of churches during that time did more to save churchgoers than Republicans ever would. They wanted to fucking trap them in a fucking hot box and let them all cough each other to death. Can you imagine these motherfuckers in charge during the tuberculosis epidemic?
You can't keep your business open. Now,
the government literally was paying you to keep your business closed. Here's some money so you don't have to keep your business open, because if you open it, you and your customers might die.
Certain businesses are exempt, and it's always the case that you have this sort of favoritism that comes into politics when...
What What businesses? Food delivery? Medical supply companies? Pharmacies? Gee, I can't imagine why you'd let them be open, but not a sports bar.
These things are involved. But nevertheless, COVID was a great pretext for the suppression of basic liberties.
No, it wasn't. Because we still, I don't know if you know this, we still have all of those quote unquote basic liberties. If it was a pretext for getting rid of them, we wouldn't have gotten them back. If it was the perfect pretext, we would have given them away willingly forever. Nonsense.
The liberty of free expression and free speech, freedom of
No, you have free speech and you just can't lie and libel.
assembly, freedom of religion. So think about it. They were able
Okay, no. Mosques and churches equally couldn't, synagogues, it doesn't matter. Ashrams, you couldn't meet inside them. It's in a closed building. It's unhealthy. This is a contagious disease killing off millions of people. Why the fuck would you want that is the biggest question.
to get all the
Also, this motherfucker and people like him seem to think that we had the same limitations that like Australia had. They mix up shit that happened in Australia with shit that actually happened here. My mom's church met everybody. It was like a drive-in. They met and stayed parked in their cars and tuned into a radio station that broadcast the sermon while they were sitting there, or listened to a speaker until that was set up.
key protect.
And yes, I got my computer and I've been setting it up and putting drivers on it and installing software for like the last 5 days. It's been fantastic and it's very nerdy and I'm being very organized. I'm very proud of myself.
Sections of the First Amendment and sort of knock them out with a single threat, namely a virus.
No, you still have, you never had the right to yell fire in a crowded theater. You never had the right to give medical advice when you aren't a medical professional. And you never had the right to violate, nobody gives, you don't have a right to stay on a social media platform if you violate their terms of service, because that would be the government interfering with free speech on behalf of you versus the social media company. The social media company does not have to house your ideas. They don't have to give Stormfront a fucking page.
January 6th was used to create fear. Again,
Really, I can't imagine what's scary about someone flying a Confederate flag inside the American Capitol. Maybe, here's a good idea. Next time, don't do that, and you won't give the Democrats a fucking layup.
I think a fear that's largely artificial. Oh, there are insurrections all around us. There are domestic terrorists who are cooking up plots. And
Yeah, they actually are.
so we need a regime of censorship.
We don't have a regime of censorship. We don't even have one. Even if we needed one, we don't have one.
need the FBI to target these people.
Nope. You were only targeted if you threatened people with murder. And that's true no matter what your fucking politics are.
Fear.
Yeah, and I don't know what that insurrections all around us nonsense is.
And then as we head into 2024, what will it be? A revival?
Aliens and AI and robots and yeah, that's what I'm planning on using. I don't know. What are you guys going to go with? Foreigners and drugs? Why vary off the winning fear combo that you guys have been running since the mid 80s?
Revival of COVID? It could even be something totally different. It could even
Yeah, it's not going to be a revival of COVID, stupid. Why would the administration that prides itself on actually ending lockdown and getting people vaccinated bring back something worse? What's the fucking point? The actual COVID outbreak happened under Trump. So if you're going to lay it at anybody's feet, lay it at his. If it was an underground plot to fuck with America, then why wasn't it Trump that participated? He was the leader of the fucking free world.
be climate change. The world is coming to an end. Look, we've had this really scorching summer. We're going to have perhaps a cold winter. This is climate change. Our environment is being wrecked. We've got to take all these measures right now.
Yeah, we do, but incremental smart steps so that we can get to net zero, which is not absolute zero, but you don't understand that because you're a fucking fool.
And so fear is a very useful tool.
Yeah, you're not going to bring up, you're just going to just go right by like every Trump speech right now, that we're a third world country, that murders are happening. You can't even walk out on the street without somebody hitting your head with a fucking baseball bat. That every immigrant that comes across the fucking border is loaded up with fentanyl and buck knives, and they're here to rape and slaughter everybody that they meet, even the children. The women are just there to give birth to terrorists. That you're not going to touch. How about fentanyl? Did you just like the border's open and it's flowing across the border, and that's how Democrats want it? That doesn't count. That's not using fear for political purposes. That's not stochastic terrorism. The things that this asshole has named were things that actually happened. In the 60s, black people didn't have the same rights as white people in a lot of places. Therefore, that needed to be remedied. The Democrats remedied it. Republicans who didn't like, who sided with that became Democrats. The Democrats who didn't like it became Republicans. That actually happened. COVID actually happened. The stock market crash actually fucking happened. The tidal wave of insane asylum, evacuees storming across the southern border of military age to fuck everybody with a fentanyl dick has not happened. It does not happen. It is a complex issue of the border and drugs and the market for it and supply and demand that adults discuss in those terms.
Of the police state.
We don't have a police state. He's got a movie coming out called Police State that nobody's going to go see. So he's dropping this bullshit in there. Just saying. By the way, naming a movie Police State and saying America's a fucking police state is using fear for political purposes. He's got to know this.
And
anyways.
Yet it is not enough for us on the other side, the opponents of the police state, if you will.
You're not the opponents of the police state. Seriously, you're the ones who want the Texas law enforcement to check the medical records of women who leave the state to see if they've had an abortion. What police state? And you can't lay that on Democrats because you spent the last 2 fucking years saying we want to defund and get rid of the police. Police state, you motherfuckers want to get rid of the FBI.
Well, just to point that out and warn people, as we should.
Yes, using fear to manipulate the electorate, and
they're using fear to control us.
Why would they need to do that? If it's a police state, they have batons and the pressure of the legal system, and they can throw you in jail. Gulags, I suppose.
Lots of people are doing that.
Are they? They're just doing it. They're just doing it.
But I am adopting a little bit of a technique.
Ew. Does Debbie know?
Which is that one way to beat them
is to join them?
To join them.
Right. Oh, fucking hell. What? No. Not in this case. You can't say the tactic is bad and then use the tactic, you lying piece of shit. Of course you can. He's like, what am I looking for? Consistency?
And what I mean by that is that
I'm an asshole. And yeah.
That recognize the effectiveness of the way in which the Democrats deploy the real, or in some cases, imaginary technique of fear. Well,
let's go through it. Let's see. How do they do it? Come on. Maybe I'll learn something. Maybe we can, CSL and I could work on our thumbnails, get them all clickbaity.
What I want to do, and this is the point of police state, is I want
to make money. I want to squeeze the money out of the people, and I want to eat it.
To use people's genuine and rational fear.
You mean of like the economic system during the Depression, or COVID, or the civil rights being denied to them, or
that their liberties are in danger.
Oh, well, how? I thought with COVID being the perfect pretext to get rid of these rights, how do they even have them left? They're not in danger. They're gone. I mean, you can't even go outside. We live in a police state. Haven't you seen the movie?
And that there is a kind of an opening, a window of time
in which we can scare them specifically into paying to go see this piece of shit film.
In which we can block the police state.
No, you can't. If it exists, it exists. and it doesn't. You're just being a dick at this point. This is what a fucking oh god. I'm gonna get a vein in my forehead, aren't I?
So we need to move while time remains.
Yeah, we don't have any time left. I don't know if you know this. We lost all our rights during COVID. It was the perfect pretext to get rid of our liberties. We don't have any liberties. Liberty, 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 liberty. We don't have them anymore. Yep, took them away. We're all wearing masks. No one goes out anymore. You're not allowed to go to church. What else? Yeah, you have to stay 6 feet away from everyone unless you're having licensed procreative sex that the state allows, which of course is only interracial. Because it's woke. It's woke, so Jesus.
But when time runs out, then there's nothing you can do, or very
well, yeah, that's kind of true. Yeah, hey, broken clock.
little you can do, or the only thing you can do is try to flee, try to get out of the country, try to get your money out, try to get your...
Yeah, you should start doing that now. I would honestly say you should just take your own advice and leave. You should flee the country with your money. Oh, you don't have any money. Oh, I see, because that's why you're trying to make a movie called Police State and scare people into watching it so that you can get money. I see. You're financing. You're fleeing the country. I see.
Relatives out. Try to get yourself out.
Yeah. Just to have a bug out plan.
We don't want to be in that situation. So
no, we don't.
So I want to tell you up front and in advance that
you're moving to Russia. Good for you. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fine. I think the nice thing is you'll have all those rights you care so deeply about.
That Police State is, in a way, a profoundly frightening movie.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you got money to make it, I think, is the...
But it's a frightening movie not because, like the climate change guys, I'm cooking it up. It's a frightening movie because there are frightening things going on in the country. Now,
well, don't you trust that? I mean, if it's really a police state, wouldn't we all see that? Wouldn't you see the cops on the street corner? And wouldn't there be like religious police walking around, woke police, I suppose, walking around making sure you're having right thought and shit like that? Or, wouldn't we all be dressed like characters in 1984 already? If we're missing it, how is it a police state?
There are a lot of Americans who go, well, it's not going to happen to me.
Right, and that they're all correct.
And these are guys who are sort of like the grazing antelope who goes, well, that there's a movement in the trees, but I think it's got to be wind. I don't think that there's a predator who's going to jump. And if there is one, he's not going to jump on my back. Well, that's true. I mean, most antelopes think they can get away, and most of them are right. Actually, the slow ones are the ones that obviously are wrong about it, but even they think they're going to outrun somebody else. It's the question is, no antelope ever thinks there's not a lion in the trees. Have you ever seen them? They're all like, what the fuck? You sure this is okay to eat? You sure? You sure? You sure? Which is exactly, by the way, how this dickhead would like GOP grazers to act. This is the kind of naive, I would say, bovinely stupid view that
you're trying to use to bring people to your movie.
Brings you a police state. So the movie is intended.
No, you need people who want to deliberately put the police state into action. You don't, just because the citizenry is dough-headed doesn't mean you automatically have a police state. Doesn't really work that way. As a matter of fact, it takes a lot of effort, quite frankly.
To warn you, don't be that antelope.
Thanks. That's the end of it? Really? Don't be that antelope. Yes, he said bovinely. Jesus Christ.